the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
It's your boy Rags, and we're back on the Dirty Network with a brand new episode of DD30 Sports Talk Show. And I'm excited to post some new episodes and get back to my fans and hear what you guys have to think about some of the hot takes that I have. So I have a great show planned for you guys today. One topic being in basketball, of course, I have to discuss the Josh Giddey incident. On top of that, we're going to go to some football, and we're going to talk about some Super Bowl contenders. There were some great games on Sunday. Shout out to my Jags for doing their thing once again. But we definitely got to talk about some football. It wouldn't be right if we didn't. Also, college football. Colorado, they just ended their season. First year under Deion Sanders. Was this a success or was it not? You know, I'm going to chop it up with that. And of course, I want to hear you guys' comments below. On top of that, of course, I'm going to have to throw in some baseball news. Free agency is in full effect in baseball, and we have some great Japanese-born players that are basically taking control of the free agent market right now. We have, of course, Shohei Ohtani, the two-way superstar, who is actually, of course, he's not going to be able to pitch next year, but he is still going to demand a very high contract. We're going to get into that. On top of that, we're going to talk about Yamamoto as well. Japanese-born pitcher that is going to be coming over this season. What teams have the best chance to land that guy? So I have some great stuff for you guys planned. So sit back and relax. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. And again, comment some of your feelings and let me know how I'm doing. All right. So DDTV will be back in a sec with the dirt. DDTV. Go subscribe now. The dirty. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you subscribed while you were checking out that nice little slide there. So without further ado, let's start with the dirt. And of course, we're talking about Josh Giddey of the NBA. Sensitive topic, but it is a necessary topic. Now, Josh Giddey, for the ones that do not know, he is a guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a 21-year-old guard. He's only been in the league for a couple of years now, but he's a very talented player. Oklahoma City, the Thunder in general, are a very talented team, a very young and talented team. So this hurts a little bit to talk about this situation, but I think it's necessary to discuss it because, of course, it's popular news, and on top of that, if anybody's watching this and they have their opinions, they can express it as well. But and for those who don't know the full story, Josh Giddey, he's in the news because he had sexual relationships with the underage teenager, 14 to 16. My thing with this, and of course, before I even get started with the topic, of course, all of the facts are not out. 100% of the facts are not out. I wasn't there, so I don't know everything either. It's just reading what I see. So as much information I have is probably the same information that you have. If you have more information than me, let me know. But in this situation, I don't even need to get into the details too much. Because the situation itself is what bothers me, right? So of course you're innocent until proven guilty, but in this case, especially being a popular young athlete, of course you're still young, but and again, as I say, I had to put this disclaimer because I can only imagine me being a 21-year-old superstar athlete that people know. On top of that, I'm making millions of dollars, so anything that I want to do, I basically can do it. You know, I could go to any party I want. I can buy whatever I want at that time. And, you know, the person that I was in my 20s is definitely somebody different than I am in my 30s. So I can't judge somebody by making mistakes. But when it comes to this situation, I just want to say athletes need to be more careful. And they're a sport athlete. They expect you to be a role model. And on top of that, you're making millions of dollars to be that role model. So it's if you can't party as much, or if you have to be a little bit more careful with the people you hang around, that's just part of it, right? So with that being said, I think when it comes to going out and partying and ended up hooking up with the underage female, we're hearing from 15 to 16, is very disturbing. It's very disturbing because you're supposed to be more careful, right? You're an athlete. You're in the limelight. You're Also, you're on a team. You don't want to let your teammates down because you know if a situation pops up, for instance, if it's personal and you're having to miss games because of that, then you're letting your team down at the same time, right? So, with that being said, I think Josh Giddey, of course, we're going to find out a little bit more information. But no matter how you slice it, I don't care if the girl had a fake ID. I don't care if the girl told him that he was 21. I don't care if um, her friends that were there were telling them, and all these things. The fact of the matter is, you have to be more careful. On top of that, this person, like I seen the pictures and the videos, right? So obviously the girl knew who you were, right? Because when she sent the picture out, she put your name on it, right? So situations where, hey, we're grown. Look, we've all had one night stands, right? But it is super duper important to know what you're dealing with at that time. I don't care if you need to see a birth certificate. I don't care if you need to go talk to her. Hey, are you sure you're 21? You look kind. Let me call your mom. I will literally I would have called your mom and be like, hey man, I'm here with so and so. She's at this 21 and up. All right, look, and if she tells me I can't do that, then hey, you got to chalk it up as an L and move on to the next one. But my message to the guys here, especially the young guys, you have to be more careful. You have to understand that you are an easy target, right? And one mistake, one mistake could cost you a lot of money. It could cost you your dream. Your dream is to be an NBA player. You're doing a great job at it, but a one night stand can literally be the end of something great. We've seen this in baseball, where Wander Franco, he had an actual relationship with an underage female, and he's also very young. I believe he's like 22, 23. You could comment below and let me know his real age, but that relationship basically ruined his MLB career, right? Now, again, we don't know all the details in Wander Franco. That I think that situation was more of a one night. That was more like this relationship's been going on for a while compared to, I think Josh Giddey's situation looks more like a one night stand. And hey, you have to be careful because, and I can already hear the replies of, hey, well, people are 10 years older and they're dating each other. But the fact of the matter is, if you were 20 and you were talking to a person who is 10, that's still weird, right? The fact of the matter is, if you're an older guy or if you're above the age and, a female is in high school or whatever the case may be, you just know that she's not at the age group that you are, then that's a red flag. You got to let that go because she's not even old enough to make her own decisions. And on top of that, be able to, think ahead and say, hey, is this really something that I want to do? When you're that young, you really just, you do what you're told at that point, right? So I just think, guys, you have to make a better decision. Josh Giddey, I feel bad for what he's going through. But on top of that, you kind of put yourself in these situations, right? You have to ask for a little bit more information, or you have to be careful, or, like I said, maybe if you're an athlete, maybe you're not the one night stand guy, especially when you're in a 21 and up club and things are, you just never know. And I've seen the picture of the girl. She was definitely in that questionable, like, hey, you don't look that old. You look like, and it's like guys seem like they're lame for asking questions. You better ask that question and save your career. So Josh Giddey, no matter what the news comes out, he's wrong in this situation. If you ask me, you have to be more careful. You have to be more detailed, especially when you're going out and talking to whoever, but especially when you're talking to a female and you're having sexual relationships with them. It is what it is, right? You're not in high school anymore. You're not in college anymore. You're a big time star in the NBA. Your teammates are looking at you. Your family's looking at you. You cannot make these type of mistakes. Hey, go.
Hit that like button.
Thank you.
All right. We're back to the 3030 Sports Talk Show. And the next topic is going to be on MLB free agency. And I have two Japanese-born players that I want to talk about today. One being Shohei Ohtani, the two-way star, and one being Yoshi Yamamoto. And I'm just saying Yoshi now because I can't say his name fully, but I will learn it eventually the more I hear it. But Yamamoto, which is a star pitcher. He was actually in the WBC last year, if you guys watched the World Baseball Classic, and he looked really good. He looks like a big league pitcher. So teams are very excited about that. I'm excited about that, being a big baseball fan. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. First, I want to talk about Shohei Ohtani, the mega star two-way athlete or two-way baseball player. And if you guys don't know what that means he's a pitcher and then he's also a full-time hitter, right? So nobody in the league has done that since Babe Ruth, which is a big deal. But of course, we'll probably see more people try to do it in the future. Shohei, he's setting the template right now, but it's still a very hard thing to do, especially coming from my mouth. Being a baseball player, I played baseball for over 20 years. I played through college, so I know how hard it is. And I was a dual guy myself, so I hit and I pitched. And let me tell you, it was very, very, very difficult. You're in a lot of pain, and on top of that, my seasons didn't consist of games every day. Like I had maybe 2-3 games a week, a game on the weekend, something like that. Shohei Ohtani is literally playing every day in the DH role. On top of that, he's pitching once a week. So it's unreal what he's doing, actually. So a lot of talk has been about, well, what's the number going to be, right? That's the first topic, right? Well, what's the number going to be? What is he going to demand? Is it going to be $600 million? Is it going to be $700 million, right? For a 15-year deal, whatever the case may be. My opinion, even though, and I just want to say this too, Shohei Ohtani, he's not going to be able to pitch next season. He's going through his second Tommy John surgery, so this is something that he has been through before. So he is not going to be able to pitch next season, but he is going to be a full-time hitter. Ohtani, if you haven't known, he just won the MVP. He missed, I think, the last month of the season and still had over 40 home runs. So it's ridiculous, the numbers that he's putting up. On top of that, he's a guy that he can steal bases. He could hit bombs. He could do a little bit of everything, right? So he's definitely a hot commodity, and all the teams want him, right? I can't sit here and say, well, which teams are going to be the most interested. Every single team in the MLB will want this guy. I don't care if they're the last team in the market. I don't care if they're the first team. Every single team is going to want Shohei Ohtani. With that being said, who do I think is going to get him is the question, right? And before we even get into it, there's been a lot of news that Shohei really wants to keep the free agency quiet, in-house. He doesn't want people to tell how the conversations are going, and he's going to use that against them if he finds out. What I say to that is the dude can do whatever the hell he wants to do. He's a two-way star. He hits home runs and throws 100 miles per hour. So if he's telling teams that, hey, keep it quiet, guess what they're going to do? They're going to keep it quiet. They're actually going to shut up. So, yeah. But there's a lot of news out, and from what I've seen lately, his agent was talking about, hey, Ohtani's not just going to play on the West Coast. He's not just set on playing in the West Coast. He would also play in the East Coast, or he would play for a team that's a contender like the Braves or the Yankees. My opinion, or my pushback to that would be, I mean, he's the guy's agent. Like, what is he supposed to do? What he's doing is he's opening up the market. If you want your free agent to get the most money possible, you want the big teams in there like the Chicago Cubs, the New York Yankees, the Atlanta Braves, etc., the Texas Rangers. You want all those teams to be bidding for your services. Of course, you're going to have the West Coast teams like the San Francisco Dodgers. Oh, I'm sorry, the San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers, which is, people are basically making them the favorite to get Ohtani, or Seattle. What I think is, honestly, I'll just say what I want, right? I would love Ohtani to play on the East Coast, right? It's hard to make somebody a superstar in this league if they're always playing games at 10:30. It's just really hard to stay up for those games. It's really hard to get excited for a game that's coming on at 10:30 because I'm already tired and half sleep. So I would really love to see him play on the East Coast. And yeah, if that means the Braves are the Red Sox. I would, of course, I'm a big, humongous Red Sox fan. I would love the Red Sox to get him. And of course, I would hate if the Yankees get him. So please do not go to New York. But I don't think he would like the Yankees anyways. I mean, you play in New York, you go 0 for 10, won a couple games, they're going to fucking boo you and act like you're the worst thing. So I don't even think that's his style. But, hey, somewhere on the East Coast would be fun. Hey, if you're really thinking about a championship, maybe the Texas Rangers, because they can definitely use another bat in that lineup if they're trying to repeat. And I mean, you gotta like the Braves too, man, because the Braves, of course, they smoke. They're smoking balls on offense, but they could use another pitcher. And I know he's not gonna be pitching next year, but that's an investment. You're gonna have him for a 10, 15-year deal, so it's not like you're only playing for next season. So a lot of interest in Ohtani, which it should be, because he's the best player in the league, multiple MVPs on top of that, Rookie of the Year. So he's going to get the money that he deserves. And I just hope he plays on a good team. I want to see him in the playoffs. I want to see him on the East Coast. And I want to see him happy. He is the face of this league. I would love to see Ohtani's personality a little bit more. I wish he would speak a little bit more English when he does his interviews, because I have heard him speak English in commercials and other things. So he does have that ability, but I know you're more comfortable when you're having a full conversation with your native language. So I totally understand that. But I'm a little selfish. I wanted to see a little bit more of Ohtani, and I want to see his personality too. So that's fun. So the next big time free agent is Yoshi Yamamoto, all right, Japanese-born pitcher as well. He posted last week, and now clubs are negotiating with him. Now, this I'm gonna keep it real with you. Pitching right now is so thin that every starting pitcher who is a free agent right now, they're gonna get overpaid, right? Let's just say that. Like Blake Snell, the Marcus Strohmans, the Yamamotos, the Sonny Grays. I mean, Aaron Nola just got a big time deal for I think $175 million. So just to be said, the pitchers are going to get paid this season. They are going to get a lot of money. So with that being said, I'm not even going to go into the contract part of Yamamoto, but I am going to tell you who should be the most aggressive for Yamamoto. And I have a couple of teams right off the top of my head. Number one being the New York Yankees, of course. I think the Yankees are very disappointed in how their season went. On top of that, they're bringing back their coach. So I think that when you bring back the coach, I think you put more of the blame on the players, which is rightfully so. I think a lot of their players had a down year based on their standards, based on the back of their baseball card. Of course, Judge, he missed a lot of time after running into the wall in LA. So that right there took a big hit, or that basically was their offense right there. They couldn't do anything on offense when Judge wasn't in the lineup. So with that being said, if you can't get the hitting that you want, because I know they're going to go after Bellinger, but I don't really see that happening, you got to counter that with getting better pitching, right? If I'm going to score 3-4 runs a game, then I need to give up 2.5, right? 3 runs, blah, blah, blah. So Yankees, big time. I think Yankees are just going to the Yankees are going to spend a lot this season. Because, of course, they are almost last in the division. Of course, you're going to say the Red Sox. Anytime we talk about starting pitchers, I'm always going to add the Red Sox in there. They're always going to need a starting pitcher. And on top of that, they do pretty good with Japanese-born players. And another fun thing about Yamamoto is I heard that he's not against playing with other Japanese-born players. I think that's news, because a lot of the Japanese players that post, they usually want to sign with a team that doesn't have another Japanese player. You know, they want to create their own legacy and their own path. So you see Ohtani go to the Angels, who didn't have any Japanese players. You see Yoshida for the Red Sox go there, and they didn't have any Japanese players. Kodai Senga for the Mets, same thing. So this is a little bit different. Yamamoto, he kind of wants to be around anybody, honestly, from what I'm hearing. On top of that, I've seen him post some videos of him golfing with Lars Newbar. Are the Cardinals a destination for him? I think so. The St. Louis Cardinals had a very down season last year. They're going to need some pitching for sure. They have a bunch of bats in their farm system. They have guys that are going to hit. You still have Nolan Arenado at third and Paul Goldschmidt at first base to to basically solidify the middle of your lineup, they're going to need some pitching, and they're going to need a lot of it. So Yamamoto to the Cardinals is definitely something to watch out for. On top of that, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Those are my three big ones. Now, of course, there's going to be some teams that are always aggressive, like the San Francisco Giants, the LA Dodgers. They also should be trying to get in on Yamamoto, and the Braves. I'm going to just talk about the Braves and the Dodgers right now and why they would need him the most. Hey, I think they've come up short the past couple years. And honestly, if you look at the lineups, the Braves and the Dodgers, their offense is not the problem. They always fall short on the pitching side, right? And these are two teams that they believe in having a strong bullpen, and I understand that. But when it comes to the playoffs, you have to have starters that can get you 5 to 6 innings and then come back in the next 3 days or 3-4 days and give you another 5 to 6 innings, right? That's just how the playoffs have been working. The Rangers had the best starting pitchers. Well, they performed the best, right? They performed the best during the postseason, and they ended up winning the World Series, right? You pair that with a really good offense, then you know, a lot of your games aren't going to be fluke. You're not going to win off of just flukes. Say, for instance, like when you look at the Rays and you look at the Orioles, yes, they had a very good regular season, right? But when it came to the playoffs and they needed that starter to get on their back, that hurt the Baltimore Orioles. And I know Tampa Bay, they had a lot of injuries with their starters, so I'll give them a pass. You know, when they lost Shane McClanahan, that was big. But basically, you're going to need those dogs. You're going to need a Max Scherzer or Jordan Montgomery, Nathan Eovaldi, guys that can give you innings and give you multiple innings and multiple outings compared to running bullpen games, kind of like what the Diamondbacks did. They ran out of gas. The Diamondbacks, they got to the World Series because their bats got super hot. Let's be real. But at the end of the day, to win the whole thing, they didn't have enough starting pitchers to get the job done. They had Zach Gallen, they had Merrill Kelly, but you know, that was it. I know Font, he had a couple of good outings as well, Brandon Font, but you couldn't really rely on that too much. And then I know Game 4 was a bullpen game. So at the end of the day, when you go into the offseason, I know a lot of teams are going to be looking for pitching. Yamamoto is going to be at the top of the market. And on top of that, Ohtani is going to be at the top of the market because he is going to be able to pitch in a couple of years. So let me know what you think. Where do you think Ohtani is going to go? Where do you think Yamamoto is going to go? What's your favorite team? Is he going to go to your team? Is he going to go to your rival? Let me know. Let's be real. All right? So make sure you subscribe. We're going to hit a quick commercial. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about some college football. Of course, I got to talk about Colorado's first season with Deion Sanders being their head coach. On top of that, we're going to talk about some of the college football playoffs as well. All right, it's your boy Rags. We'll be right back.
You got the good, the bad, the dirty. How you live? You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
About spread the joy, DDTV. It's all you.
Back on the Dirty 30 on the Dirty Network. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page now, all right, because you're going to get more hot topics from me. Make sure you comment as well and give me some of your opinions. So without further ado, we're going to go into some football. And first, I want to talk about college football just really quick because the story of college football this season was Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, right? So that being said, I've seen a lot of things on the internet saying, hey, you know, Deion Sanders, where all the Deion Sanders fans at? He's not so hot. Things aren't going the way they should be, yada, yada. So I wanted to talk about it myself. Realize that this team that Deion Sanders just took over, they won 2 games all season two games last year. Or last college football season, however you call it. Last fall, they had 2 wins, right? Deion Sanders and the Buffaloes, they ended their season with 4 wins. So no, it doesn't get you into a bowl game. No, it doesn't get you into the college playoffs. No, it doesn't get you ranked. No, it doesn't get you at the top of your division. None of that. But to go from 2 wins to 4, when they were only projected to win 3 games, I believe, or actually, what? Let me look that up. Did they win 1 game? Yeah, they won 1 game last year. I'm sorry. Look, scratch all that. To go from 1 win to 4 is actually amazing. Because honestly, the Pac-12, when you look at the Pac-12, I mean, they got some powerhouses in that division. You got USC, you got Washington, Oregon, Utah's good, Oregon State. All of these teams are really good. So Deion, they started the season off hot. Of course, you had a lot of energy, a lot of hype around the team because Deion Sanders, he's a hype factory, right? You just can't listen to that man talk and not get excited. I know I do. So to go from winning their first game, and I believe they won their second game as well, and then running into a buzzsaw when Travis Hunter got hurt, I think was a little unfortunate. But I think they exceeded the expectations because I think when I look back at it, I think they were only projected to win 3 games, so they won 4. All right, so yeah, I mean, again, it's not groundbreaking, but you got to start somewhere, right? Like you got to build up to a winning program, right? You can't go 1-12 and then go to the college football playoffs the next year. Like that's unrealistic. But what you can do is you can set a standard and you can basically set the expectations for the recruits that are going to come in. Me watching Deion, I would love to play for that guy. You know, he's passionate. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And, you know, I know his heart comes from the right place. He's a man of God, and I could really appreciate that. So I would love my kids to play for him. I know he would work them very hard. And, of course, football is a tough sport, and, you know, you got to be coached hard. But, I mean, who's a better coach to do that than Deion Sanders? Like, he has the credibility. He has 2 great sons that are playing in college right now. And of course, I think they're going to be back next season. So I think this Colorado team gets better next season. So if you ask me, I think the season was a success. I know if you ask Deion, he's probably not going to say that. But to take a team that only won 1 game to winning 4 games, I know it's not a lot, but it's better. It's improvement. Now, next year, do a little bit more recruiting, get some better linemen in there, get some chunky fellas up front. And run the football a little bit more, give Giddey Sanders a little bit of a break because it seems like the whole offense was centered around him. So I'm excited to see what Deion Sanders does with Colorado in the future. And then I'm also excited to see if he's going to get another opportunity to coach another college team because I think college football is his that's his sweet spot. I don't see him going to the NFL. I see him being around kids and talking to kids. So I'm excited about that. Also, college football news. Definitely got to talk about the college football playoffs because it's coming up. We have 4 teams that are going to be ranked tomorrow in the top 4. Ohio State getting their first loss against Michigan. So I'm expecting Ohio State not to be in the top 4. But then again, with Florida State losing their top quarterback or their number 1 quarterback, Jordan Travis, the committee might see that and say maybe Florida State might not do too well in the playoffs and they might give Ohio State that 4 seed. I don't agree with that. I would honestly want to see another team pull up in there. I think just off the top of my head, it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and another team. Maybe it's Oregon. Maybe it's one of these one-loss teams. Maybe it's Alabama, especially if Alabama could beat Georgia in the SEC championship. You got to give Alabama the bid right there, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if I see Georgia and Alabama make it with Michigan and Washington being the final 2. But with that being said, let's talk just a little bit about the Ohio State-Michigan game because I did watch a little bit of it. Honestly, gotta give props to Michigan because, of course, through the adversity of their coach and what their program's been through, they found a way to get a win. But just the eye test, and again, I could be wrong. Honestly, Ohio State didn't really look like that great of a team. Like, let's just be real. Their quarterback made a big mistake early in the game, threw an interception that ended up being a touchdown for Michigan. On top of that, they never really got their foot planted after that. I know they tried to get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. a lot, and I think Michigan was prepared for that. He had some great catches, but he was also everything that went his way was contested. So they were able to shut down Marvin Harrison Jr. for the most part. That the cornerback that Michigan has, number 2, he was spectacular. I would expect to see him early first round next season or whenever he's able to come back. I think he was a sophomore this year, but again, sorry, I don't know the name or information. I'm not a big college guy, but I do like watching the games. But it's really interesting to see how everything's going to play out, especially Michigan in the playoffs, because yeah, you got past Ohio State, but the Big Ten, like you're playing Iowa in the Big Ten championship, so that that conference isn't really that strong, if you ask me. So we're going to see what they do with some stiffer competition, when they play in the playoffs. Because of course I'm expecting to beat Iowa. So off of college football, let's talk a little bit about the NFL. And of course you see me with my Jags shirt on, Duval. Let me get a Duval in the chat. Duval in the chat. The Jaguars had a great win against the Texans, 24-21, where the Texans attempted a game-tying field goal and it hit the crossbar at the bottom. Amazing game, had me out my seat. Shout out to CJ Stroud. He is a legit MVP contender. I don't give a damn if he's just a rookie. He is a legit MVP contender. Trevor Lawrence is a legit MVP contender, which is not being talked about at all. I don't want to hear any of these other names if Trevor Lawrence is not in the conversation. He is in the conversation for MVP, period. I don't want to hear nothing else. If you watch the man's game, he makes throws that I haven't seen any other quarterback be able to throw. It's almost like he throws it and his arm strength is so good, it just gets where it's supposed to. On top of that, the accuracy. I mean, he's threw some amazing, especially to end the half, that ball he threw to Kurt that hit him right in stride and he was able to run it down to the one. Like, hey, I would love to see Kurt push the guy through the end zone to get that touchdown right there, but we're going to leave that alone. Just do a couple extra push-ups tomorrow, all right? But great game all around by the Jags and the Texans. Got to respect them. They literally came up this short by missing that field goal. So got to respect that team. The Texans are going to be a problem in a while. But with that being said, the Jags are now the number 1 seed in the AFC. Yeah, I had to let that breathe, let that sink in. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the number 1 seed in the AFC. That's crazy. At this point, we're fighting for home playoff advantage, playoff home field advantage. And on top of that, we're playing for that first week bye, which both situations would be so huge, monumental to get these things done, colossal, whatever you want to say, right? It's just a big deal to get that number 1 seed. All the teams are fighting for that number 1 seed. And honestly, destiny's in our hand at this point, because we are going to have to play the Ravens here coming up in the next couple of weeks. And I believe if we win that game, we will have an amazing chance to lock in that number 1 seed. So that's what it is. My Super Bowl tenders, I got to talk about the Jags because that's my team, right? So that's what I'm telling you. The Jags are legitimate Super Bowl contenders, especially if they get that number 1 seed. Now, on the NFC side, definitely got to talk about the Eagles because they played an amazing game against the Bills this weekend. Amazing. And I mean, shout out to Josh Allen because he probably played the best game that he could have played. Now, yeah, he threw an interception in there late in the game, and also in the overtime, I think there was some miscommunication between him and Gabe Davis on a could have been touchdown pass that was missed. But for the most part, Josh Allen, he played his ass off. He played lights out, right? So with that being said, got to talk about the Eagles being a contender for the Super Bowl, or to get back to the Super Bowl at least. Because just no matter what happens in the game, Jalen Hurts, he had some turnovers, he had some issues, but when the game was on the line, he said, "Get on my back, fellas, and let's ride." He threw a absolute dime to Zacchaeus in the back of the end zone to give them the lead, and then also after the Bills came back and scored another touchdown, he got his team in the field goal range for the Jake Elliott field goal. And of course, everybody's seen the touchdown run at the end to seal the deal. So it was an amazing game by the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, he's also in the MVP conversation. You can't leave him out. On top of that, all the players played great. I know A.J. Brown hasn't been putting up the numbers that he was earlier in the season, but that slack is being picked up by Devontae Smith. And he is doing amazing. He's making tough catches. He's making sideline catches. He's doing it all for them. He's catching balls up the middle, everything. So the combination of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith might be the best duo that we have in the league right now. So Gotta let that sink in. That matters. The Eagles are definitely a Super Bowl contender. Now, I gotta talk about the Dallas Cowboys because, of course, they're one of the hottest teams in the league. But on top of that, they play a lot of hot garbage teams, all right? And when it came to them playing against the top, stiffer competition, I haven't really seen a lot out of them, right? So, of course, they could beat up on the Giants and the Commanders and the Panthers, but how do they do against the San Francisco 49ers? How do they do against the Eagles, right? Because these are the teams that you're going to be playing in the playoffs. Is it going to be the same story? Hey, the Dallas Cowboys, they did really good, came up short. They're in the wild card game. Yeah, they beat that number 4 seed because they'll probably have a better record than the 4 seed because that's going to be a team in the NFC South. Yeah, you'll beat that team, but then when you go against Philly or San Francisco the next round, what are you going to do, right? Are you gonna beat them and get to the championship game, or are you going to do what you do every year and bow out, right? So a lot of pressure on the Cowboys. I have to put them in the Super Bowl contender bracket for now because, I mean, when they're good, they're good. They're great. On top of that, they have a game wrecker and Michael Parsons. So Michael Parsons is a beast that can't be contained. So if their offense could figure it out on top of their pass rush getting going, the Cowboys can be tough to beat, and they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. But again, it depends on how hard they go. But with that being said, football season has been great. There's a great game on. There's been great games all week. I had to put my 2 cents in to let you guys know that the Jags look the best to me. I mean, I'm a Jaguars fan. I got the Jaguars. I mean, we still look good. I've never been ashamed to tell you if we sucked or if we look bad, but when we're looking good, I'm gonna tell you we look good. So, gotta shout out my Jags. A good win on Sunday. On top of that, football has been great. So, a lot of great news. Just want to thank you for watching the Dirty 30. The quick sports talk show. Again, go ahead and make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you comment. Let me know all your 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Let me know who your Super Bowl contenders are. Let me know who you think the best team in the NFL is. It's your boy Rags. The Dirty 30 is back. And this is a wrap for the first episode back in 2023. All right, going to be a lot more coming. Make sure you subscribe because I'm going to be posting shorts throughout the week, right? If there's something that pops up where I'm not going to do a full episode, I'm going to do a short for it on YouTube and upload it. And again, I'll have my hot takes there. I have my hot takes on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you subscribe and follow on all places. It's your boy Rags, and I'm out. Dirty 30, we out.
The good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad.